Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on multi-stores. So guys, multi-stores is an add-on module that is only available if you're running Sage Pastel 50C Partner. So you have to be running the partner version. It is not available in Express. And what multi-stores does is it allows you to have multiple stores or warehouses. And you can get quite a lot from it, and you can also build your GL around that. So I am going to be processing in the demo where a lot of stuff is already set up, but I'm also going to show you a couple of tips and tricks to expand your general ledger to get more detailed reporting in conjunction with multi-stores. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you are going to need to go to your setup and to your inventory. In your inventory, if you go to Other, you'll see the multi-store tab there. So if you had already created this company and you had been working in the company and now you wanted to add multi-stores, this is where you'd go to tick the option to use multi-stores. If you've created a brand new company, you'll also need to select that you wanted to use multi-stores. Once you've selected to use multi-stores, in order to actually change that, you would need to delink every item from every single store so that you can actually remove the stores and turn it back into a one store company. Now, I'm not going to cover that today, but I am going to cover what to do if you've just selected to use multi-stores. So you tick the multi-store option, you would say OK. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to create your stores. So you'd go to Edit, Inventory, and you'll see that the stores option will be available. This is obviously after you've registered that add-on module. They will give you a serial number and you will add it to the module section. So when you click on stores, in my case, I've already got a couple of stores set up, my Cape Town branch, my Durban branch, and my Joburg branch. So this is how this company has been built. We've got various stores in different locations, but you may actually have different warehouses. Or you might be working in Pastel where you have multiple companies running a set of books, but you need to actually interact between those sets of books, and you can create those as stores. So you need to decide on your setup. This is a traditional, I've just got branches in multiple locations. So when you create your first store, you'll need a code. Guys, please make this alpha or numeric. You can have both, but do not use special characters. I know I say this in every single webinar, but special characters cause havoc. Don't use inverted commas, exclamation, hash, at. Especially in Excel, it's more an Excel problem. Excel sees those as commands to skip columns, or it sees it as an incorrect or invalid entry. So please don't use them, just use alphanumeric. In this case, it's alpha, CT. With your description, same thing. It can be alpha, it can be numeric, or it can be alphanumeric, only letters and numbers. Then you've got your default inventory groups. Now, in my case, I've only got two set up. So I can select my default inventory group, and I can then enter my postal address, my physical address, the contact details, and click on Save. Now, guys, these default inventory groups are very important. And in all honesty, before you even set up your stores, work out what you want your stores to be. And then my advice, and this is just a tip, is I would go to Setup, to your inventory, and go to your groups. Look at your groups and decide how you want your groups to look, because you can use these groups to actually expand your reporting. Obviously, in checking these groups, you need to make sure that the groups are one after the other. Please do not put spaces. If you put spaces when you run reports, for example, if I now start at 5, it's only going to run the report until 2. It's then going to go, okay, you're done. It's not going to actually check and go, oh, nothing in 3 and 4. Oh, great, I see 5. It doesn't see it. It stops. So make sure that they're one after the other. Check how many you need. So in this instance, I might want 1 per store. So I might go, okay, I'm actually going to change inventory goods, to example, for inventory goods Joburg. inventory goods Cape Town, inventory goods Durban. Now that being said, I'm probably going to want to create sub-accounts then for those, because while I can have those groups, and of course I can just report using those groups for my inventory, if I want to have my trial balance show me, hang on, Joburg's doing really well, or Cape Town, or Durban, or whatever the warehouse is, sub-accounts is the best way to do that. So in order to set up your sub-account, you go to Edit, General Ledger Accounts, and then I would need to set up my account. So, okay, I want to set up my first. Sorry, guys, you would click on the plus sign for add. Make sure that you know what the account is, because you need to enter that main account number. And then you're going to enter your first sub-account. So 001, for example, 100 or 110, however you want it to look. And then that already exists. So 2, for example, sales JHB. Then I can do my cost of sales in the same way. And I can do that with any of the other accounts in that group. So you also have your inventory accounts, you have your adjustment accounts. So you need to look very carefully at your setup in terms of your inventory and what accounts you want to create sub-accounts for. But this can really enrich your reporting. You can then go, you know what, actually, Durban branch isn't really making money. Don't know what to do there. Let's investigate why, for example. Or you can go, this is actually costing me money. I'm going to close Durban down. I'm going to move the branch to Kimberley, for example. And maybe I'll do better there. So that can really help, because then you can change this. Again, inventory goods JHB. Then you can have inventory goods Cape Town, inventory goods. And again, you can do the same with your services if you so wish. And you would then link them to those general ledger accounts. Are you with me so long? Is there anything that you need to ask? Look, I haven't done everything exactly. I've more given an explanation. But would you like me to actually demonstrate in detail actually selecting all those accounts, or do you feel that you've got it? You're happy with the explanation given? But it is a very nice way to enhance reporting. Great, you're with me. So that would be my first suggestion. If you are going to use it to enhance your inventory and your trial balance, income statement, balance sheet, actually create your foundation. What stores am I going to create? Do I want to segment my general ledger? So create sub-accounts. What sub-accounts do I want to create? Just sales, cost of sales? Do I want the others? Link them all together. If need be, write it down on a piece of paper. You start with your sub-accounts, then your groups, then your stores. Once you've then done that and you've created your stores, you then have options. From your stores, you can go to link inventory. So this is now important. Now you've set everything up, you're ready to go, but you obviously can't transact between stores if the items aren't linked. So this is where it's really important. There might be certain items that are only available in our case, Joburg, Durban, or Cape Town. And then there'll be some that are shared. So you'll click on next. You can either choose inventory item or inventory category, and then you can choose a range. So what you can do is you can select absolutely everything if you wish to select everything. The from is blank, the to is filled with Zs. Or you can select a range, for example, A to K. And then it would only pull in the items in that range. Because you've selected that range does not mean all of them will be linked. So basically here, oh, okay, they obviously changed something. Sorry, guys, my apologies. No, they didn't. Sorry, they added an extra window. So they added an explanation. My apologies. I ran through this, but I forgot about the screen. So what it's telling you is that you can't delink items in the following situation. So if you link this in error, but the item exists in an open inventory batch in the store. You can't delink it. If the inventory history movement exists for this item in the store, you can't delink it. If any quantities exist for this item in the specific store, you can't. If they're part of a bill of materials or a kit code, and if this is the only store that they're part of. So delinking, it has to exist in at least one store. It has to have a 0 quantity, and it cannot be in an open batch, a bill of material, or a kit code. Bill of materials and kit codes are part of the manufacturing module. So when we click on next, what it's then going to do is it's going to give you a list of items. And that's why I said you don't, even if you select the range, that doesn't mean everything will be linked. You can then go and specify, okay, yeah, this one, that'll be there, that'll be there. Or you can link all or delink all. Obviously, in my case, there are certain items that cannot be delinked. In this case, my accounting, for whatever reason. But you would select your items and you can say next. It's then going to ask you about the copying of the selling prices. Now, the selling prices in different locations may differ. So you don't have to copy the selling prices. However, if, for example, and a quick tip, if, for example, in Joburg, you're going to sell it for 5% more than what you're selling it in Cape Town, and Cape Town you've already set up, copy the selling prices. Now, in this case, this is the Cape Town store, so maybe I'm going to copy from my Joburg store. And we're going to say next. It's going to ask you to confirm the operation, and you click on process, and then you can click on start again. And now you've linked your items. Unfortunately, with the groups, there's no quick way to actually put it to the right group when you link it. So you may have to go through your inventory items, and then you may have to, for the specific items, just go and check, okay, my Cape Town branch, which one is it set to? Am I happy? Yes, great. So just double check your inventory groups. The setup can be lengthy, but once you've checked for your different stores, that's great. Guys, remember the activity. When you look at the activity, it's for the specific store. This has caused confusion with people before where they're like, there's nothing, I don't see anything, but they actually forgot that they've got the wrong store at the top here. So it says 0 here, but they actually want to delink, for example, from Durban. But they didn't select Durban, or the Durban selected, so there are no quantities, and they want to delink from Joburg. So guys, the activity is dependent on the store that you've selected, and that will then become available. Now, that is all the setup, how you link to a store and everything. Once you've linked, you'll then notice, especially if you were processing previous to multi-stores, that when you open your processing options now, and this is for customer and supplier documents, you now have a store option. Now, this is great because now you can sell from the specific stores. Now, generally, you would have a user in our situation because it's geographical per store. That, again, is also the setup, and it's really important. So if you go to set up users and passwords and users, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to give your users access to the specific stores. Okay, because it's a supervisor, it does have access to everything. Hold on, guys. But you can set your users up specifically to have access to specific stores. And then once you've given them access, so you can see default store here, you can either give that group or that user just access to the specific store. That will then be the store that will come up in the processing. Are you with me? So if it's geographical, it's very nice to lock the user down to the specific store that they can process in, so they don't inadvertently select the incorrect store. Same with point of sale. If you have multi-stores, make sure that they are set to that store in your settings. Guys, if you need me to go over something in more detail, please let me know. But then you'll fill in the store and complete as per normal. So the only thing that'll change is the store. Now, if you do have multi-stores, a very common thing that's going to happen is that you are going to need to interact between the stores. So you might need to get stock from Durban, for example, and send it to Joburg. Or if Joburg's your main store, you might want to order everything. You see that you've got excess stock in Joburg and Durban's struggling. Instead of getting hold of the supplier, it might be quicker and easier to actually transfer the stock from Joburg to Durban. In this case, you'll notice that suddenly you'll have the option of normal batches and inter-store transfer batches. So this is where you can literally select a period and then you will select your from store. So this is the store that you are transferring the goods out of, and your to store. You'll put your date and make sure that you do select the correct date, guys. The moment you select a period, it automatically puts it to the end of the month, and give this a unique reference. So transfer JHB01, for example, or J01 to D, something that makes sense. So transfer Joburg, first transfer, and it's going to Durban. Then you need to select your code. You'll notice that it immediately fills in 2. And if I tell it here, okay, it's going to tell me how many I have. And I go, okay, I'm going to send 100 units. It fills in the rest for me. So here I can change the unit cost. You know, maybe what we're going to do here is we're going to tell Durban, listen, you have to pay for us to courier this down. So the unit cost per item is actually going to be 2360, not 2240. Sorry about that. And they will then need to supplement the rest. So it'll just come from those books. And that's just so that the books show correctly. So you'll go, guys, actually, your side of things needs to pay for this, whatever that is. And then you would have your markup account. So this is where it posts the transactions to. And then you would go update batch. And that transfers happen. So now 100 of those units are now sitting in the Durban branch. So guys, that's your basic processing. That's how it works. As I said, on your processing screens, you have your stores options. That's because I was doing Bank Manager, sorry. I didn't mean to click on that one. Your point of sale that we spoke about. Sorry guys, I did think that I had installed, but that does sometimes happen. There is a settings option. Make sure that your store is set correctly. But then guys, that is your basic processing. So that's how you process using multi-stores. That's how you set it up. My advice with the setup is make sure you know what you want to do before you start processing. Don't later go, oh, I wish that we had done that. Let's now do it. Plan how you want your trial balance to look. Plan how you want the multi-stores to look. Very similar to Project Tracker, where you also need a lot of planning. Multi-stores, make sure that you've planned it out properly. The setup is crucial. So we've done our setup, we've done our processing. Guys, then with your inventory on a lot of your stuff, there are no specific reports except for the inter-store transfer reports. So you can go and check your transfer reports. You know, what's happened, when and where, and how has that all happened. And you can check what transfers have happened. You can check if you're happy with those transfers or if there was possibly a problem. You can also drill down to them. And if you wish, you can go and create an actual transfer document, much like customer and supplier documents. You can customize them. You can customize your transfer documents as well. You can add logos from the one store to the other, etc., etc. So, guys, that is the only report that is specific to multi-stores. Other than that, what will happen is that if you now go to example to activity, you'll see from stores and to stores. So on a lot of the reports, you'll now have a from and a to. So view inventory reports, and you can go to your inventory valuation. You can run this for a specific store. So you don't have to do it for all of them. You can go, yeah, we're busy with Joburg right now. We're going to do the valuation for Joburg. We know that on our trial balance, we've also split it. There's sub-accounts. So I can check the control account for the inventory that's here against my valuation. How do I feel about this? Is it in line? That type of thing. So the stores will become available. Again, if you're doing a stock take, the stores are available. If you need to import quantities, you now are going to have to be very aware of store columns. Is the correct store set? If you import items, that item's going to show the number of stores you have. So if you have 6 stores, you're going to have the same code show up 6 times in your inventory listing. Show you guys that. I'm going to quickly export my inventory. Okay, here guys, you'll see again, stores. So you can do it just for one store, or you can do it for all of your stores. But if you're going to do it for all of your stores, what's going to happen is the following. All of my stores. So you'll see that it comes up, and on the store column, which is AJ, yeah, you'll see that it's putting the specific stores. Now, obviously, if the item only exists in one store, here, for example, it's only going to show up once. So you'll see that a number of these are only once. That's because it only exists in one store. But if it exists in all of the stores, it'll come up in the amount of stores that it exists in. So when you import items, if you're making changes to a number of stores, and this is probably the quickest way to correct your groups, so that is your A-B column. So if you know, and then you can do it in their sections. Let's export everything for Joburg. Then you put that to group 2. Everything for Cape Town, group 3. It's much faster than doing it one by one. So this option can really be awesome when you import, but again, make sure there are none of those special characters, or when you import, it's going to be a nightmare. Other than that, guys, tips and tricks when doing a stock take. If your stores are different locations, obviously select only that store and ensure that that store has been completed before you process the stock take for the next store. That is your process count inventory. So if they are in different locations, do not, under any circumstance, try to run them simultaneously. And don't do it. You could do it for all stores. It's just then one person's going to have to be the capturer. My advice would be do it store by store and actually structure it. Okay, Monday is Joburg. On Tuesday, I'm going to capture, and on Tuesday, Cape Town store is going to do their stock take. Wednesday, I'll capture Cape Town, and depending how much stock you have, but then here you would then, sorry guys, apparently I had already done a snapshot. Always rebuild your batch quantities. It's very, very important. But my advice would be, if they are in different locations, to rather do them by store. It'll be a lot quicker. If you are importing the stock, you can do it for all stores. My advice would be one store. It just makes the creation of the CSV document that much easier, and it avoids, or there are less mistakes if you do things in batches. So bite-sized chunks, there'll be less mistakes, and then it's a lot easier to actually capture. You do need to show only on the snapshot only. If it does come up in red, what it means is that the items weren't on the snapshot. So you'll see this is all of Joburg. Basically, if I just go there and untick, you'll see that all of the stores come through. Ones in red means that they're not part of the snapshot or that they're service items. So guys, here you can see that you can open things up for mistakes. You've got to double check. Oh, it's Cape Town's. Okay. Oh, it's Durban's. Okay. Okay, no, it's Joburg. Okay, cool. Okay, this is this one. This is that one. So my advice would be do it per store. Then it's a lot quicker and simpler. Guys, are there any questions with regards to multi-stores? Anything that you specifically want to know? As I said, setup is key. Thereafter, it's actually pretty straightforward. But if you have any questions, please let me know now. Okay, then guys, do you have any questions on anything else with Pastel? I'm opening up the floor now. If you don't have any questions, that is it for this webinar. Please ensure that you check on Sage City. I will be posting the video or the recording of this webinar there for you, as well as any supporting documentation, for example, how to customize their transfer documents. And otherwise, guys, that's it for me for this webinar. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope to see you at further webinars. Thank you so much. If you have no further questions, you're welcome to log out. Thanks. Ciao, ciao for now. Have a great weekend too. Thank you so much for joining me.